give it up to the youth. Loyal to the squad if we win or we lose. It is in our veins that orange and the green when it's through and through. Cause you know we want it, these squad versus ours, now they don't really want it. Our pedigree's deep with pros and abundance, get ready for the storm cause the hurricane's coming. Let's give it up to the youth, loyal to the squad if we win or we lose. It is in our veins that orange and the green when it's through and through. Cause you know we want it, these squad versus ours, now they don't really want it. Our pedigree's deep with pros and abundance, get ready for the storm cause the hurricane's coming.
All right, what's good, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Kings on the Daily, powered by Livewire Sports Media. So the Miami Hurricanes picked up their second straight win after a dominant performance over Bethune Cookman 45-3. This game didn't need too much from the Miami Hurricanes, but a steady pace of great football. Carson Beck looks like he's getting over his time over Georgia, had another outstanding game, as so to speak. CJ Daniels looking like another coming of Andre Johnson out there, Reggie Wayne, and then you got Malachi Tony, who is really coming into his own, who is looking like the announcers said on the game that they remind him of Santana Moss. And the more and more I watch him, I can see the semblance. I can see the similarities in it. Now, the Hurricanes really didn't. I mean, they wasn't even challenged by Bethune Cookman at all. They wasn't challenged by them. If you look at it, 45-3. Miami scored 14 points in the first, 14 in the second, 7 in the third, 10 in the fourth quarter. With Emory Williams coming in the second half, around about the 4-minute mark of the third quarter, and taking over. Now, Carson Beck was 22 for 24 with 267 yards, with 2 touchdowns and a 95.2 QB rating. Now, if he continues to go on this trajectory, especially with the tough game coming next week against South Florida, who upset Florida. Now, we could take it for as much as we want. Some people say, hey, South Florida is pretty tough team. That's fine. Nevertheless, I think South Florida is going to play a little tough with Miami next week. But I do believe once the Miami Hurricanes get their rhythm together and figured out that team, it's going to be a smooth victory for the Canes. But nevertheless, Mark Fletcher Jr., who had another outstanding rushing game. He rushed for 86 yards on 11 carries, almost 8 yards a carry, had 2 touchdowns. His longest run was 7. Gerard Pringle, Jr., he came in yesterday, and he had a touchdown. His longest run was a 30-yard burst. Then you got Shamar Brown, who played well. Miami total rushed for 30 carries for almost 200 yards in the game with 4 touchdowns by their running backs, and include Emory Williams with his legs. Chris Wheatley Humphreys, he played pretty solid as well. If you look at on the other side of Bethune Cookman, between both their quarterbacks, they only had 99 yards passing. Miami defense really shut them down. 99 yards passing. They only had 92 yards rushing in that sense. So, and then for the Miami Hurricane receivers, again, as I said, Malachi Tony, who had looking more and more like a Santana Moss. He had 6 receptions for 80 yards. He could do it all. He does. To me, I think he's how we had Extrapol last year. This year we have Malachi that he could go in, out. I hope if I could find that clip of him with that juke move in the game yesterday that was really dope. I mean, to be honest with you, Malachi Tony, he did his thing. He did his thing yesterday. So but hopefully I can find it for y'all real quick. Because I wanted to show y'all real quick. I don't know. Okay, yep. I have that play for y'all. So, like I said, Malachi Tony played a hell of a game. I'm going to show y'all this real quick, and then I'm gonna bring it back in for y'all. But nah, Malachi Tony did his thing. He did his thing yesterday. So here's the play right here.
Players who's spitting out their coffee right now, or fans, I should say, like, well, how to play zone defense.
Yeah, short gain there, 4 yards. Beck gets it out quickly. He's got Malachi Tony, and in space, here goes Tony. Gets a block downfield from Keith.
I'll throw out a name to you, and it's Santana Moss. And there's a lot of players who's spitting out their coffee right now, or fans.
So that play right there with Malachi Tony was like, I mean, the way he went in and shifted and then stop and go again, that's almost like how Santana Moss does. You know, now he's not as big as Santana Moss, but he's very shifty in a sense. And I think throughout the season, you're gonna see a lot of great plays with Malachi Tony. And CJ Daniels ain't no slouch either. CJ Daniels, when I tell you CJ Daniels is like really, really doing his thing, you know, with everything. So, and also CJ Daniels, he had 5 receptions for 73 yards, also almost 15 yards of reception, and his longest was a 40-yard. And he had 2 touchdowns yesterday. He went off. Upshar played well. Ray Joseph played pretty well. Elijah Lofton, the tight end Brock Shot, he came in bulldozing over folks. Now Carr even got in there, you know, and then seeing a whole lot from everybody else. But Emory Williams did lost a fumble. Miami's defense, stellar as always. They had 1, 2. They only had 1 sack yesterday, but they had a lot of pressures. Yesterday. So Bryce Fitzgerald, he had an interception. So the main thing about this is that the Miami Hurricanes is really coming into their own. They really is starting to become a team of balance, a team that where you could look at them and say, hey, they could beat you on both sides of the ball. They could beat you with the pass. They could beat you with the run. But the main bread of this team is the offensive line. This offensive line from last year coming into this year is being really dominant. I'm starting to look at this team as more of an SEC team, not more of a ACC team. You're starting to see that physicality up front. You're starting to see the dominance of the defense and everything. Now, Wesley Blackstone did get kicked out the game yesterday for targeting, but Miami still didn't lose a step. But we still gonna need them not to make bonehead plays like that could cost, especially if you playing a team like UCF that just upset Florida, or you got Florida State down the line, and you know that's a rivalry game. We need all hands on deck, and I do believe down the line Miami will get better in them areas. They show a whole lot more. I think, to me, if they like the way they played against Notre Dame, you know, they stayed into the game. They didn't let the game out of hand. And this is where I like what Miami's doing. They taking what teams give them. They're not trying to force things. They're taking shots when they need it. Now, I think they could have took a little bit more of big plays in this game against Bethune Cookman, but nevertheless is what it is. Also, Carson Beck, he did broke Vinny Testaverde's record of consecutive completions in 19 that was held in 1986. So that was pretty good of him. He had consecutive completions with 15 in the game and plus no interceptions, and that's in 2 games. So you can't expect any more out of that from him. So now the task for the Miami Hurricanes now is to continue to stay consistent. if they could continue to stay consistent in these games, even when they play big games, I think they would be fine. Nevertheless, I think that these first two games starting to show what this Miami team could be, where this Miami team could go. Even though it's a long season, but I think the Miami Hurricanes got something that they need to hang their hat on right now, because the fact of the matter is that the main goal is to get into the playoff, and the ultimate goal is to win the national championship. But they got to continue to work and do the little things. This team is going to get better. And as long as Carson Beck continues to not make crucial mistakes, and something that, you know, Miami quarterbacks did in the coming years, make mistakes, throw interceptions, and when they didn't need to. Even though we had Cam Ward last year, but Cam Ward would risk stuff. He would take chances. You know, the defense wasn't there. I think the defense, the back end still needs to get a little bit better. We did have laps where we gave up some big plays, but we don't need to. That gonna comes with more and more in game. But I still love what this team looks like right now. And I think this team is going to be hell on wheels as the season progresses. Mario has, you know, we was hard on Mario Cristobal for, you know, the last few years because we didn't think the Miami Hurricanes was going to be anything. Now, they had a chance last year to get in the playoffs. They had a shot, but they collapsed at the end because the defense, no matter how much points the offense put up, the defense could not stop people. This year, it looks a little bit different. They playing smash mouth football. It's not a bend don't break, but they're making plays. They coming after you. They going after the quarterback, and that's what we need. As long as we could get after the quarterback and stop the run, was something that Miami had trouble with, you know, the last few years, stopping the run. The Miami Hurricanes is going to be a team that you do not want to face when it comes down to postseason. So let me know what you think about the Miami Hurricanes stunning victory over Bethune Cookman, 45-3. Next week is going to be a really test game for the Hurricanes. South Florida is coming into town. They're going to be a handful. I don't think at first it's going to be a battle. Probably the first two quarters is going to be more like the Notre Dame game a little bit, where Miami is going to have to take what South Florida gives them and then get the plays that's needed. I think South Florida is going to have their hands full with Miami. I don't think Miami is not Florida. So I think South Florida is going to have to come in there and just play ball, make it tough for the Hurricanes. But I still believe the Hurricanes will come out with a win. Until then, till the next time, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. This is Canes on the Daily podcast, powered by Livewire Sports Media. Until the next episode, go Canes. Love it.
Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? Livewire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't want to miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is Livewire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.